Okay, we left off over here where the question was posed, the boilu. Ishto zinso beirechot v'shosek. A single witness comes and says to a man, his wife committed adultery. And he remained silent. Mao. Is he permitted to his wife or not permitted to his wife? Omer Abayi Nemon. Abayi says the single witness is believed, meaning where the man remains silent. Rava Me'inu Nemon. Rava says he's not believed. Havidovi Sheberavo, because since it has to do with her marital status, whether she's permitted to him or not, Havidovi Sheberavo post Mishnayim. Anything which touches about her status, whether she's permitted to her husband or not, you need two credible witnesses. And since it's a single witness, although he's remaining silent, Satose is a question. Vim Tomar, Kevin the Shosei, Kushtika Kodo, Damya. Since the husband remains silent, third Tosis on the page. Loma lo ti'osolov kilo yuchal lasosolov chatichet yisura. I mean, if a man says meat is forbidden to me, and we're saying silence is the equivalent of saying that, he's saying, I believe what you're saying, my wife is forbidden to me. So it's Shavnash Chetri Yisura. So what does the Rambam say? It has no relevance to Dov Sheber Post Mishnayim. Factually, if he believes the witness that she did commit adultery, a married woman who had relations with another man, she's not permitted to the husband. So if he believes that as fact, so why is she permitted to him according to Rava? What is he saying? This has no relevance to Dov Sheber Post Mishnayim. The other question. If a man believes his wife committed adultery, is she permitted to him? I say, I believe this meat is not kosher. You could have 1,000 witnesses saying it's kosher. I say it's not kosher. Because for whatever reason, I believe it's not kosher. Are you permitted to eat the meat? No. So a single witness comes as, I saw your wife, I witnessed she committed adultery. And he believes the single witness. He believes. Does it have any relevance to Ein Davar Sheber B'Posel Mishnayim? What does that have to do with Ein Davar Sheber B'Posel Mishnayim? He's believing a fact that she committed adultery. If he would see her commit adultery himself, you have no two witnesses, right? Because he saw her commit adultery. So the concept of Shavnash Chetri Yisura means if you believe, for whatever reason, something to be a reality, you have to deal with that reality. It is, look, everybody agrees, even Abaye agrees. If he has a relation, we're not going to give her Malkus and him Malkus. We're not going to give him Malkus. So basically, it's like a Shavnash Chetri Yisura concept. So if that's the case, well, how does Rava argue? Why does Rava say, well, there's a principle, you need minimally two witnesses. It's unrelated witnesses. If you believe what the man says, you believe she committed adultery, you believe she committed adultery. Does he have to remain silent? Even Abaye agrees. Abaye says he's believed. When is he believed? Only if he remains silent. What would it answer? Abaye says, "Bein echad v'shosek." A single witness says she committed adultery, and the husband remains silent. Without this, if he counters the single witness, it means nothing. Okay. Correct. Well, she's a married woman. It's not relevant to the rest of the world. She's a married woman. But to him, he's not permitted to her. Correct. Rava says, I disagree. Even if he remains silent, I disagree. She is permitted to. So Tosas asks. But factually, if he's accepting the testimony of the single witness and he believes what the witness says, she should be off limits to him. All along. Nemon is continuous throughout the Gemara. But Nemon is not specifically. No, but I understand it. But this issue that you bring up now is throughout all the examples that Abaye had said, whether it's the chaylev, whether it's contaminating his tyros, or it's saying the animal was somebody committed bestiality with the animal. It also, the Gemara used the term nemon. Nemon. So okay, the Ran says, in Tosas and Rashi, you learn nemon means, it doesn't mean really nemon. It's really, the single witness is not believed. It's only because it's based on what he said and the person accepts what he said, that's the meaning of nemon. So it's not specific nemon here. But factually, that's the way, you're right. It's the word itself should have been said differently, but I agree. Right. The Ran himself makes this point, and ultimately comes out, he asked this as a difficulty on Tosas, but he concludes, like Tosas and like Rashi, that although Nemon doesn't mean Nemon as normally would mean he's believed, but because it's based on what he had said, what the single witness said, and the man accepted it, therefore it's the equivalent that we're believing it, but really it's not based on what he said. The single witness is not believed, because he could have counted the witness. Right? All along. Every one of the cases. It's shtika kodo. The principle of shtika kodo. The silence is accepting what the man said. Okay. No, but the way we're saying now, the witness has no credibility. Really has no credibility. It's all it's shavnash chatikh disura. It's what he values. It's what he establishes. So that's Tos's question. So if we have a principle shtiko do, and the Ravas say, what relevance is ein davar sheber poskim shnayim? Has no relevance. If the husband believes what the single witness says, the silence is believing. So you believe. So it's shavnash chatikh disura. That's Tos's question. No, but good. So it's true. You don't. If he somehow would, for some reason, believe that. So here, single witness. Right? No, so Abaye says you believe in shtika kodo. But how could Rabbi say, well, but we need two witnesses? I mean, Tosas will say something. I wanted to say differently. And other Rishonim say differently. Yeshloma k'sober Rava, taimi d'shosek mem and lav mishum d'shtika kodo. Rava disagrees with the principle of shtika kodo. No. Silence is not necessarily admission to what the man is saying. Damyo elo mishum dika raglaim d'dova mehem nilei. Now, all the cases Tosas explained before, when we say shtika kodo means the single witness says to the man, don't you remember there were two pieces? There was chaylev there, and you ate the chaylev. So there was a basis for him to understand that what he did, he acted negligently, he wasn't careful enough, right, by chaylev. And he said the same thing by taros. It's speaking about there was something which was contaminated regarding the produce associated with that, and he said it came in contact. It's only because there is a basis for what he's saying. It's not based purely on the testimony of the single witness. The single witness is introducing fact, and that fact causes that there should be certain circumstantial evidence that it is that way, and therefore he believes. So there's a galaim l'davar. The case we're speaking of, the man comes out of the blue. He says, by the way, your wife committed adultery. Committed adultery. What are we going on? There's no regulaim. There's no circumstantial evidence over here. It's not, she went behind closed doors, and he says, I witnessed that she committed adultery. And, he knows she spent a night in a hotel room. And then the single witness would say she committed adultery. In that case, Rava would agree. There we would say, because there is circumstantial evidence. What is she doing in a hotel room with another man? And the single witness says, by the way, I witnessed they committed adultery. Then we'd say, but where a man comes out of the blue and says, by the way, I witnessed your wife committing adultery, and there's nothing to go on other than your silence, do we say that silence is enough to establish, to say, do we identify and translate the silence, meaning he accepted the words of the witness? He remained silent. If you're very specific, say, do you believe what the man said? And he says, yes. The man didn't say anything. They didn't say anything. So how do we deal with the issue here? The Bezdin afterwards. Right? A man says to witness, the witness says to the husband, your wife committed adultery. No circumstantial evidence, and he remains silent. And now lady wants to stay with his wife. But originally he remained silent. How do I interpret that original silence? If he would have said immediately, I believe explicitly what you said she did, that's shav nafshech surah. But originally he didn't say a word. He didn't say anything. And now lady wants to be with her. So now all of a sudden tells he said, when I remained silent initially, I didn't mean, I rejected what he said. I ignored it. Abaye says, no, since you remained silent initially, we interpret that silence as admission. You accepted what he said. That's Abaye. Rava says, no, that silence originally means nothing. Doesn't mean anything. Therefore, we go after presumed status. She was permitted until now. She continues to be permitted to. That's what Rava is arguing. But here we're trying to, it's not what you did. We want the Bezdin allow him to be with his wife after the original silence, and now he chooses to be with her. It's irrelevant. Once you believe it, it's there. Now, it's interesting. That's Tosas the way that. See, I was thinking differently. I was thinking this way, that Tosas, Rava holds like this. If a person truly believes that a piece of meat is an avela, regardless of what the world says, it's irrelevant. It's not kosher, it's not kosher. If you believe on your own that a woman your wife committed adultery, she's an adulteress. I mean, regarding to yourself. That's how you have to conduct yourself. What about, let's say I have an Eid Echad coming and says, the piece of meat is not kosher. I don't know, is it kosher, is it not kosher? Single witness says it's not kosher. Why do I believe it's not kosher when he says it's not kosher? No, because I'm relying, the Torah says you have a right to rely on the testimony of a single witness. So I do believe it's not kosher. But why am I believing it's not kosher? Because the Torah says a single witness has sufficient credibility to establish the status of the piece of meat. What about if a single witness comes and says, your wife committed adultery? And for some reason, in my mind, I believe that the Torah says, I must believe what a single witness says. So it's not I really believe what he's saying. I believe that the Torah says I have to rely on it. He's credible regarding this. So do I really believe she committed adultery? I don't believe she committed adultery. But the Torah says, a single witness comes and says she committed adultery, you rely on what he says, on his testimony. So therefore, that's not shav nafshech yisura. It's not you believe. Believing means he convinced me. He didn't convince me at all. I believed I was bound because a single witness said she committed adultery. That's why I have to accept what a statement is. No, if he openly says, no, I understand that, no. If he says, I don't believe, he's disagreeing with the witness. But let's say he says, I believe what you're saying. Well, what do you, I believe that you as a witness, I accept your testimony as credible. But it's only credible as a witness. But the Torah says a single witness has credibility. It's rooted in the credibility of a single witness. That's what Rav is saying. So it's not the conventional, classical shav nafshech yisura. One case is I truly believe that she committed adultery. I'll give you an example. Chofetz Chaim writes regarding Shmir Saloshin, you have to be careful when you share information with someone. Let's say you want to share information that a person let's say, was victimized. So you can't accept it as fact. Can't accept it. He's not permitted to accept it. And he will accept it as fact. You're not permitted to share that information with him. Because what he's supposed to do is hear what you say, then he has to go and verify whether it's fact or not fact. Otherwise, it's l'fnei v'l'sin b'chshol. So he speaks about a case, there's certain people in their personalities, type personality, they always see the other person in a negative light. Anything you share with them, right away, the way they process it, he's definitely the one. He victimized me, whatever he did. He said something about me. You're not permitted to share something with that kind of person. Because factually, anything you share with him, immediately, he puts it in a negative light. Right? So there, in his mind, that's the way he believes it to be. Right? Does it have a basis to it? It doesn't have a basis to it. Doesn't have a basis to it. It's like, you have 100 witnesses say it's kosher. He says it's not kosher. It's not kosher. It's not kosher. That's what you feel. It's not kosher. But over here, what is the basis? It's not because I feel she committed adultery. It's because I believe that a single witness is credible. It's based on the credibility of a single witness, because we'll see in a minute. The Gemara tells of a story, which Abai brings a proof from this to his position. Let's read the next Gemara. We'll get back to Abai. Listen to the story. Omar Abaye, mino aminalo. What is the basis for my position that even a single witness is credible to establish her as an adulterer when he remained silent? There was this blind man. He would arrange the order of his brisa in the presence of Shmuel. He would come, he would review it together with Shmuel, and he would set the order of the brisa. Yom Echad Nogalei. One day, he was absent. He was delayed. This blind man. V'lo have a kosi, and he didn't come to the shir. When they were reviewing the brises, Shodesh Shlicha Basrei. So Shmuel, Mar Shmuel sent an agent to locate, find out why he wasn't there. The agent, the shliach, took one route to go to his house, and the person, the blind man, was coming on another, so they bypassed one another. They didn't see one another. When the agent came back, and the blind man was by studying with Mar Shmuel, Omer Ishto Zinso. Hear this? He comes back and says, when I went to the house looking for him, I found his wife was committing adultery with another man. That's what the agent said. Reported back. Also coming Mar Shmuel. So he came before Shmuel. He had a shayla. This blind man had a question. Right? Is my wife permitted to me or not permitted to me? Omar Lei. So Shmuel said to me, if you believe this single witness, then you have to divorce her. Vilolo topic. But if you don't believe him, then you don't have to divorce her. It's all based on what you believe. You believe the single witness, then she's forbidden to you. If you don't believe the single witness, then she's permitted to you. My love. So what actually was he saying? But we're dealing with a single witness. Correct is the question we just posed with Abai and Rava. Right? Does a single witness have credibility to say that his wife committed adultery? My love. So what do you mean? If he's trustworthy and you believe his testimony, then she's not permitted, even though he's a single witness. Right? Lav goes on, he's an honest man. Not that he has the credibility to witness. Rava says no. If he has the credibility to you as two witnesses, then you must divorce her. Vilolo tavko. And if not, then you don't have to divorce her. So this seems to be like I'm saying. Meaning, if actually when a man, and this is also cited in halacha, is halacha, somebody shares some negative information about someone else, are you permitted to accept it? You're not permitted to accept it. But you're permitted to take it into account to verify whether it's credible or not. What about based on your relationship with this man? This man has a reputation, he has a degree of integrity that he never ever lies, and whatever he says is fact. That's your experience with him in every situation. That's his level of honesty. So he's classified as Nemek Betray. He has the credibility of two witnesses. When he shares something with you, you could accept it as fact. So if he says something negative about another person, where there's toelis, where it has constructive value, you could accept it as fact. So that's what he said to him. If the man to you, he has the credibility of two witnesses, that's his credibility, then she's not permitted to you. What does that mean? So, like I'm explaining it. If it's only I'm believing it because he's a single witness, I don't know who he is. He's a single witness. He's an honest man. He doesn't have the credibility. But I believe because he says it. But who's saying it? Single witness. But what about if his credibility to you is as if he's two witnesses? That means you're accepting his word as if it's fact. Not because the Torah says you believe or you don't believe. To me, he has that credibility. So if that's the case, I believe she committed adultery. It's like if your father would tell you something and you trust your father. It's father, you say, father's a korov. He's related to him. He's not qualified to testify. It's irrelevant. But if you believe what he tells you is fact, it's fact. So if this man has that credibility that what he says is the equivalent of fact, it's fact, then she's not permitted. So that's what Rav was saying before. If an Eid Echad, what's his credibility? Eid Echad, Eid echad is not sufficient. But if he's credible, that he has the credibility of 2 witnesses, although he's 1 witness, then she's not permitted to you, because you actually believe that she committed adultery. No, it is ultimately shav nafshech l'chitei. It is that, but that's how we're differentiating before. If it's a single witness, it's not shav nafshech l'chitei, because really you don't believe factually that she committed adultery, because a single witness said so. But if nemed k'vei means no, that's hard evidence. It's the equivalent of hard evidence. I truly believe that she committed adultery. If that's the case, then that's shav nafshech l'chitei. Now, where does it come from? You're paranoid, whatever it is. If that is a reality, that is a reality in your mind. You dreamt that somebody came in a dream and told you she committed adultery. She's not permitted to you. She's not permitted to you. You know? He has to divorce her. Unless somehow he's able to verify what he believed is wrong, factually wrong. He has to divorce. And that's what he told her. That's what Bar Shmuel said to him. If you believe him as you believe 2 witnesses, then you have to divorce her. That's exactly what he said to her. To the individual, we're talking this toelus. It has constructive value. It's not just sharing something negative about someone else. Right? You talking about adultery? It has constructive. First, I'm not talking about this case. Whether he was permitted or not, seemingly was. It's a question of he doesn't want him to be in violation of living with his wife if she's an adulteress. Good. But the Chavetz Chaim writes, but what about his nimen could betray? He has the credibility of 2 witnesses. Okay? So good, so that's exactly what we're saying. So if he's a type of person that he will accept it as fact, then you're not permitted to share it with him. Right? Because that's lift the evil city mishal. There you're putting a stumbling block in front of a person because no, let's say the man truly came and he meant toelis. It has constructive value. Now I'm giving you this information. Go verify it. Take it in consideration to verify. There's nothing wrong with that. Credibility of 2 people, then you have an obligation to tell them. Definitely you have. The other case, if not, then you have to say, and really, you have to say to him when you present it, it's for you to verify this fact that I'm telling you. Don't accept it as fact. No, I mean, the man over here should, according to Abaye, the man should have said that. Right? He should have said that. Because now that he's an eminent, he doesn't have the credibility of 2 witnesses. And that's what Mar Shmuel said to him. If he has that credibility of 2 witnesses, then you could accept it as fact. If not, then not. But factually, what's the story? I'll tell you, the person did the wrong thing. He did do the wrong thing. The man coming back, sharing this evidence, he didn't phrase it right. He should have said it differently, but he didn't. According to Abaye, and the man remained silent. What is the status of his wife, Tim? Abaye says no. That's what Tosa says. Because Abaye says it's such devastating information, you would have said something, the person would have said something. He wouldn't have remained silent. He says, you know something? This is something I can't accept it as fact. I have to go verify exactly what is my obligation. What is my responsibility? You don't remain silent. Silence means it's admission. I mean, you try to defend your wife to some degree. No, if he says that, now it's for you to verify. He, 100%, 100%, definitely, no question. Whether you're engaging or not, a man who says such terrible information, painting such an ugly, negative picture about one's wife, how do you remain silent? How do you remain silent? That's Abaye. Silence is admission. You accepted it as fact. He shouldn't have. I mean, the husband also shouldn't have. He shouldn't have. The husband also did the wrong thing. A Rava says, no, the husband did the right thing. Because the person had the credibility of two people. And that's why Mar Shmuel said, if you believe him that he's credible, then she's not permitted to you. He's credible as two witnesses. If that's the nature of the person, then she's not permitted to you. Then you have to divorce her. He would remain silent. Correct. So Abaye says. So what does that mean? Abaye says shtika godo. That's Abaye. Abaye says shtika. Silence is admission. That means you accepted it as fact. Rava says no. He says that's not. You're not telling the story right. You're not telling the story right. The story of Mar Shmuel is not. He says just silence is fact. He says if the man is credible to you as two witnesses, then she's not permitted. But if not, then it means nothing. That's what he says. That means you don't really believe him. And what he said to you is not acceptable. He did accept it. Yeah, no. But the way I'm explaining, what is the accepting? He accepted it where it was really a faulty source. Right. That's Rava's point. Rava's point is, but it's still faulty. Like I explained before, if the basis of my belief is because I'm supposed to accept the testimony of a single witness, that's not sufficient. But what about if he's credible to you as if he'd be two witnesses? That's something else. That means you're accepting it as fact. It's not comparable to this. It's not comparable to this. He says, I saw your wife in bed with a man, and they engaged in relations. They had sexual relations. He said, I saw it. There's no way. Did the man overcharge you? Did he undercharge you? Did he this? Did he that? Maybe you're not aware of all the facts. You're not an expert in halacha. But over here, okay. It's not this. This man was very specific and very explicit what he saw. There's no ifs or buts what he said. The question is he credible? That's the discussion over here. Is he credible? No, that's what Abaye is saying. That's exactly. He's just telling the story. You're telling the story wrong. Rab is saying to Abaye, you're telling the story wrong. Mar Shmuel said to the blind man, how do you accept the testimony of the single witness? If you accept it as that he has credibility of two, then she's not believed. Then you're not permitted to her. Anything less than that, then she's permitted to you. Okay. But Abaye, Rab is saying that's what Shmuel said to the blind man. That's implied. Omer Abaye. So, okay, where do I know this? He cites another incident. The Tanya, very interesting story. Masa b'Yanai HaMelech. Yanai was a Kohen, and he was from the Beis Hashmonoim. He was from the family of the Hashmonoim. And his mother was taken captive at one time, and the law is that a woman who's taken captive rabbinically is not permitted to a Kohen. Because there's a question, maybe she was defiled by the captors, which were Goyim. Because they raped the captives. He went to a location called Kuchlis in the desert, and he conquered 60 cities. And returning with his victory, he had tremendous joy. He summoned all the Chachomim. Amalehem. When the Jews came back with Ezra after 70 years in Bavel, they were impoverished. They had nothing. So what do you think they ate? So when they built the Beis Hamikdash, all the reserves they had went into the Beis Hamikdash. So they ate vegetables, salted vegetables. It was a meager diet. So he says, to commemorate the victory, we're going to do similar to what our forefathers did when they rebuilt the Beis Hamikdash. Af onu nochal meluchim, zech lavoseinu, velu meluchim al shulchanu shel zov. And they brought these salted vegetables similar to that, and they on golden tables. V'ochlu, and they rejoiced, they celebrated the victory. V'oyusham ish echod leiv, let's leiv ra. Here, there was a person there. We'll see how evil this was. He was a deprecator, a man with an evil heart. We'll see how evil this man was. Evil heart. Ubelial, we're not finished. Belial means he had no conscience whatsoever. Belial, he had no conscience. God didn't exist in his mind. Ve'elozar ben Pu'ira Shemo. His name was Elozar ben Pu'ira. Yom Elozar ben Pu'ira liyanei HaMelech. Yanei HaMelech. Libim shel Prushim Alecho. He says, Yanai the king, the Prushim, the great rabbis, they don't agree with you. Meaning, they question your credibility. Rashi says, Sonim heim ben smich vatzluchasecha. To your enemies, and they don't rejoice with your successes. You believe that on your side, they have disdain for you, and they hate you, and all this is it's a facade. So he says, Ma'aseh. He says, how am I supposed to reveal? What should I do to reveal this fact? What you're telling me, to bring it to light? Yanai was a Kohen. Hokim lem tzitz shebein einecho. He says, put on the tzitz. Put on this gold plate, and put it on. Wear it. Hokim lem tzitz shebein einecho. So he put it on. That was only. It's one of the 8 vestments, but that's the only vestment he put on, which is the tzitz. Hoyishem zokein echod. So one of the elders, one of the chachomim, was there. Yehuda ben Gedidjo Shmo. His name was Yehuda ben Gedidjo. V'yom Yehuda ben Gedidjo liyanei HaMelech. Liyanei HaMelech ravaloch kesem malchus. You have much. You have the crown of kingship, of royalty. Hanach kesem kun l'zar shel Aaron. Why don't you leave the crown of priesthood for the progeny of Aaron? This is not for you. They said his mother was taken captive in Modi'im. Modi'im was the city of the Kohanim, the city of the Chashmonoim. And they tried to verify what happened. Factually, it was never established that she was taken captive. But because of that, his legitimacy as a Kohen was in question, because factually, if his father married her after she was taken captive, he's a cholo. So if he's a cholo, he's a defiled Kohen. He's not qualified to be a Kohen. So therefore, they said to him, remove the tzitz from between your eyes. Kesem malchut is sufficient. You don't need kesem kuna. V'ibodul chacham Yisrael bezam. So what happens? The chacham Yisrael, they removed themselves. He separated themselves with anger. The king became infuriated when he saw this reality. So they were exposed. And this is exactly what the Elozar ben Pu'ira had said. These people, they were enemies. They're not happy for your successes. And now you've exposed them. V'yom Elozar ben Pu'ira liyanei melech, yanei melech hedjit sheb Yisrael, kachu, dino. He says, an ordinary commoner, it's tolerable, their behavior. You're a king and you're a high priest. Do you deserve to be treated this way? With such disrespect? He says, Ma'aseh. So he says, what should I do with them? Im atosho mea le'atzosi. He says, if you would want to follow my advice, romsein. destroy them, kill them all. You hear this man? Let's leave Ra Ubiliao. I mean, just go. Just wipe them out. So, listen, Yana is a little bit of a tzaddik. After hearing, being embarrassed to this degree, he says, Torah mateo leo. So what's going to happen to the Torah? If I kill all the Chachomim, there's not going to be Torah any longer. A Jewish people without Torah is not a Klal Yisrael. He says, no problem. We have a Sefer Torah in the Aron Kodesh. It's enough. We don't need more than that. We don't need the Chachomim. It's available. No, you got it on computer. You can download it. You can upload it. You can bury it. You do what you want with it. It's available. This is what this Elozim ben Porira says to Yanai. Omar Rav Nachman Yitzchok miyad nishko ba'apikursis. At that moment, when he said that, and he accepted that as a sufficient answer, that was considered ready. He became a heretic at that moment. Why? The Torah itself is Torah Shebechsav, Torah Shebal Peh Mai. What about the interpretation, the oral interpretation? He killed the Chachomim. The oral interpretation is gone. Miad vatotzeitz haro al yedei elozim po'ira. The evil became ignited as a result of this elozim po'ira. Vayhargu kochachmi Yisrael. He killed all the Chachomim. V'hoya'olam mishtomim. And the world became desolate. There was no Torah. Shimon Shetach, as we'll discuss tomorrow, was his brother-in-law. V'hechzer es Torah liyoshna. He restored the crown of Torah to its original glory.